big deal.
Welcome
So,
to the
Miss,
Abby Acts podcast. I'm Kim.
I'm
I'm
Helen.
Connie.
I'm going to do it all together.
Thanks for joining us today. So, Helen, what are you knitting on today?
I am working on a variation of a log cabin blanket. It's an adaptation off of a pattern. This is my second kick at the cat. This one is colors that I call Spring Meadow. So all the colors are surrounded by green, so they'll look like flowers in the spring. And it's I learned with the first one, you knit the ends in as you go. Because each row has two ends. And there are 9 stripes on each block. So by the
That's a lot of
time you've
weaving.
done 25 blocks, it's a lot of ends to kick in. So
Yes. What are you working on, Connie?
I'm working on the Pippi baby sweater. First time I've tackled a project like this where you knit it in individual pieces and then assemble it after into one knitted whole. Not a big fan of seaming, but I'm interested to see what the construction's like because it's kind of a new skill, new challenge.
That's always good to learn.
you were having problems the other day with some of the pattern directions. Have you been able to get that sorted out and your stitch markers in the right place?
Yes, we have indeed. So I just have to take them off every row, which is not something I love, but I can make do. It's only for a few rows. So
Okay. Yeah, sometimes patterns are not very clear. Designers sometimes make their own language when they're designing a pattern, which makes
Yes,
it very hard to follow.
it can.
What about you, Kim? What are you up to this evening?
I'm knitting a pair of the Hermione socks, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. I went stash diving and found some Sheeples Metropolis yarn in the colorway Manila. And I thought that would be a great set of yarn to use to make these socks. And I'm knitting them 2 at a time magic loop.
So
It
why
just
2 at a time?
because I know that I suffer from second sock syndrome. And the first time I knit a pair of socks, it was a lady from from one of our old knitting groups that taught me how, and she got me started knitting them 2 at a time. So for me, it's just always been easier. They're the same size, same length. Mistakes are in the same areas.
it's just what I was thinking. Mistakes in the same places.
And if I'm going to run out of yarn on the toes, this is actually one of my first times knitting socks top down. I prefer toe up because I have yet to figure out grafting. But at least if I run out of yarn halfway through the foot, it's at the same spot on both socks.
Well, then you're going to turn them into yoga socks. Is that what you tell me?
No, I'll just find something else to make up the difference. And they'll be Franken socks.
Join the modern day fashion of non-matching socks. I like it. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you're making socks. What's the worst pair of socks you've ever made?
I'm not sure if I'd classify it as the worst, but I think the most challenging ones I've done were during Sock Madness, simply because I'm a very slow knitter, and I found the time constraints on that for me just to be very stressful.
Okay, just quickly for those who don't know what Sock Madness is, can you give us a quick rundown on Sock Madness?
So every year on Ravelry, there's a challenge that runs, and it's called Sock Madness. There's teams put together from all over the world. They will usually release one pattern at the start, and then the participants that have completed that pattern, and if I remember correctly, it's either, if you're doing them 2 at a time, you have to have completed up to the heel turn on both, or if you're doing them one at a time, you have to have completed at least one full sock. After that, I believe you get all of the patterns that are released specifically for Sock Madness sent to you. A lot of designers will custom design patterns just for Sock Madness. So it can be kind of an interesting way to test your skills, which is why I tried it the first time, because it was color work socks, which I had never done any color work. And I didn't get to keep those socks. They were adopted by my mom when she saw them on my needles. But it was just kind of an interesting way to get to try out a new skill with regards to sock knitting. And there's always lots of help from all the other knitters that are participating.
Okay, and just where do you find out about it?
It's just on Ravelry. Let me pull up.
I know it has
page.
its own forum there. I tried it one year, but I do not knit well under a deadline.
That's
Deadline knitting is not for me.
So it's on Ravelry then. So you need to.
Yes, it's on Ravelry. If you go onto Ravelry, I believe, and search Sock Madness.
Yeah, there's not much you can't find on Ravelry.
No. There is usually a ton of results for it.
I believe it should be going on right now, shouldn't it? Because it's March Madness in basketball.
It's about this time
it
of
looks
year.
like it is. Let me just quickly share my screen.
Because I knew someone once who did a whole bunch of toes, because she did toe up, so she had a whole bunch of toes ready to do the pattern on. So
I'm not sure if you can see my screen, Helen, but this is the primary Sock Madness page. It's called Sock Madness Forever.
Oh, okay.
And you can see there's over 14,000 members currently. There's all kinds of information available on it. It looks like it's round 19 going on now, so it's been going on for quite a while. Each team tends to have their own dedicated thread in the group. And then there's a questions thread that's bookmarked to the top, so that if you have questions on a pattern or what's going on, you can ask them there, and hopefully your answer will be fairly quick coming to you.
So you have to be part of a team.
I honestly, I don't remember, because it's been so many years since I've participated in it. Just because I currently don't have the time available for that.
Right. Well, that's okay. That's a neat thing to find out, that, there are all these different things you can do. Yeah. It's like the knit-alongs. Some of those are a lot of fun. I know Arnie and Carlos for the last few years, since COVID, have done an online knit-along. The first year was over the summer, and then the last few have been at Christmas, and they do Christmas stockings, and it's all in their fabulous Norwegian color work. And
that would be such a lovely way to develop a selection of assorted family stockings.
Yeah. Yeah, and every week they release the next portion, and it's been great. That was a nice reintroduction to color work, was doing their knit along during COVID, and that's on Facebook. So
okay.
So yeah, it's been nice. You know me in color.
Yes, you love your color work.
I love my color. Connie, this is how many baby sweaters you've made so far in the last 6 months?
Definitely the second one the last 6 months, but in the last year I've made a couple more than that. It just seems like there's babies everywhere, which is great. And I don't know that there's as many people out there anymore that make or give or receive the handmade gifts. And I just really like to do that. And, it's the, to sound corny, the love knitted into every stitch. I don't knit for people that I don't want to gift it to.
Okay.
I'm not one that, you know, I've had people ask before, oh, would you knit and sell things? And my answer for that is always no. When I knit as a gift. I'm not into selling my projects. Well, for one, I'm a slow knitter that doesn't like to knit on a deadline. So, I mean, I'm right there at the beginning of the baby war. As soon as they know, or I'm doing neutral, because frankly, I need around 6 months.
Yep.
Mind you, if I spent less time chasing my project through the house, that would be great. As you two well know, all project bags at my home now require a zipper or a very good drawstring. I'm
And
sure
why would
viewers
that be,
will
Miss Connie?
well, I'm sure viewers will eventually meet our Labrador puppy. Well, he's 85 pounds a puppy, Hoover, who has developed a keen interest in the fiber arts and really likes to knit. Unfortunately, his version of knitting usually involves my project not being on my needles or my yarn taking hours upon hours to untangle. The last skein took a full week to untangle. It was not a good time, so project bags that come into my house now must be zipped or tied because I'm pretty sure he could open a snap if he tried hard enough.
Well, that leads us into our topic for today. What do you look for in your project bags?
Clearly at my house, a zipper.
Zipper.
I will admit I am notorious for reusable bags. Before the days of reusable bags being everywhere, it was plastic bags. My projects in random bags are the bane of my husband's existence. I love having a dedicated project bag. And as much as I love having a dedicated project bag, you can see my current project is in a reusable save-on bag.
Very
Even
fancy.
though right
I see
beside
you're
me,
the last of the red hot spenders. Yep.
I do have a lovely knit or yarn themed bag that I received at a knitting retreat. But my project is in a reusable grocery bag.
My project currently is living in this lovely little drawstring bag that Kim and I made a whole bunch of during COVID. And I kept a few for myself out of my favorite fabrics. It's great for the smaller projects, socks, baby sweaters, hats, that sort of thing. And then I tend to put them all in a bigger project bag. Looks like I'm going to need a new zipper tote. I was inspecting my lovely professional tote, and I see that it has wear marks on it finally too. So I think I'm going to have to make a new one.
Oh,
And,
darn.
oh,
That
darn, that's right.
I will say that the professional tote pattern is one of the project bags that I do really like, especially the mini professional tote, because with the cup holder pockets on the side, I never have to worry about my drink spilling into my knitting project
Yes,
because I
nobody
can
wants a
custom
knitting
size it for my
project full
water
of
bottle.
beverage.
No.
Yes. Now, I do currently have a lovely wheeled tote. Let me grab my wheeled tote here and see if we can get it up here. Oh, yeah, we can get part of it up here. Let's just see if we can shift the camera a little bit. There we go. My lovely wheeled tote. It's got some pockets on the front pocket actually has a place for needles. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Crochet hooks and some needle pockets and things on there. I've got a few accessories hanging out in there. I'm kind of slowly transitioning to this particular bag. It is on wheels and you can take it off the wheels and carry it, but it has plenty of room inside for me to have a few projects on the go, or I was using it for the flax sweater that I completed earlier this year.
I really like mine as well. It's currently upstairs in my office, The only part that I'm not using as it's intended is the very top of the bag where it's got the holes for you to feed your yarn through. Because it's a nice thin zippered pocket that you can access without opening the entire bag, I like to use it when I've got my patterns on a clipboard to be able to track rows if it's a charted pattern, because then I don't have to worry about my pattern getting torn or crushed or accidentally falling out of my bag if I happen to grab a different work in progress.
Plus, I don't need my yarn through grommets that I can't get it out of.
That too.
I'm
about you,
notorious
Helen?
for things. I'm notorious for things like yarn bowls and stuff because I forget to use them. Get partway through a project and go, "Oh, this would have been great if I'd put it in the yarn bowl," but then the yarn bowl only has a hole to thread the thing through. Like the ones that have the little swoop are easier because you can throw it in at any time.
Yes.
But the ones that have the hole, I'm sunk. It's like, oh, correct.
I don't
Do
have
I?
any of mine with me currently, but I do have a couple that my husband has 3D printed for me that I really like.
Yeah, yeah, they are nice. Yes.
Yes,
My only
I also
problem is
have
that you
one
get
that Pat made for me, and then I have a double one for making 2 at a time socks that
wow.
my son 3D printed for me. So
Somewhere
we'll
in
have
my
to do an
knitting
episode on yarn bowls.
Yeah, we
somewhere
will.
in somewhere in my knitting room I actually have one that I printed, and it's a double spool holder where they'll rotate independently. So instead of having a yarn bowl, your yarn ball's not bouncing around, it's sitting on the little spool and unspinning as you need it.
Wow, that sounds cool too. It makes
So
your
what
projects a little less portable though, doesn't it?
I just throw it yarn bowl and all right into the bag.
yeah,
Okay.
That's why my yarn bowls are 3D printed and not ceramic. I learned that one the hard way. I had a lovely ceramic one, note the word had. It was in my tote bag on the go with me, and I turned and my tote bag collided with our vehicle, and that was the end of the
Oh
project
dear.
or
mm,
the yarn bowl. Yeah, so I learned no more ceramic ones, cute though they are. And I'll be testing the limits of knitting going on airlines on the weekend. So
Ooh,
I will
yes,
definitely
that's right.
report back about my experiences there. According
Perfect.
to Air Canada's website and the link that it goes to, I am apparently able to take my knitting on board. There's no limitation on what kind of needles you can take or anything. Now, I
Good.
am going to make sure not to take my very best scissors with me just in case,
hmm
but apparently it can go in your carry-on and on the plane. So I will be taking some sort of knitting tote right on the plane.
Well, that's
Talking.
really good
Oh,
to follow up on, because I'm always leery about trying to travel with my knitting because I don't want to have to leave a project behind.
I have a
Exactly.
funny story about traveling with scissors.
Oh, yeah.
When I first traveled, I used a CPAP machine. The first time I traveled with my CPAP machine, I got pulled over by security because it tested positive. And so I'm looking at the guy going, what did it test positive for? It tested positive for sulfur. I go, how in the world does sulfur get in a CPAP machine? And he's going, well, I don't know, man, but you're going to have to come over and did you have any checked luggage? Because we have to examine all your luggage. I only had my carry-on. So they look through it all. And I'm just dying of laughter at this point, you know. And I said, okay, how would I get sulfur in my machine? Like, you've really piqued my interest now. And he's going, well, do you put essential oils in it? I'm going, no, it
In a
has to
CPAP
use
machine?
demineralized or distilled water. Like, you haven't put anything else in it. Oh, okay. He goes, then where do you work? And at the time, I worked at a company that made welding gases and supplies. And he goes, that's where it came from. from you breathing all of the chemicals. And I go, the warehouse is in a totally different part of the building I'm in. He goes, doesn't matter. He said, that's where it would have come from. And
Oh,
they were very gracious. They repacked all my bags for me and put everything, zipped it all closed before they gave it back to me. So it was kind of a funny. But then when I got to my destination, I opened my bag and there are 4 pairs of scissors in my bag that I must have just been putting through randomly, thinking I was going to work a project. I going, okay, so I get stopped for a CPAP machine, but not for the 4 pairs of scissors that are in my carry-on.
I might have you beat Helen. My cousin traveled to Egypt. Now, this was right after 9/11. So it was a day or two ago. And airport security took her nail clippers away because of the little file on the
Yep.
nail clippers. But they left the jackknife on her keychain.
Yeah, and it just really seems to be random. Like, I just sort of laughed when I saw that. This, I thought, I came through security with 4 pairs of scissors, and you got.
Yep.
Whatever I take on the plane definitely will be something very small, and if I had to give it up, I could. I mean, I am flying Air Canada. I'm not expecting a problem, but if I'm sure I'll still be working on this sweater, and it will be in my checked luggage. So I don't see the world where this is done in the next couple of days. So
Well, I guess that about wraps up our time for the episode today. We look forward to you joining us for our next podcast, and we hope you enjoyed joining us this time.
Good travels, Connie.
thank you, and I will report back about my adventures when I return.
Sounds
Happy
wonderful.
crafting, everyone.
All right.